I used to say years ago that when he first came around that he had the best legs in boxing. He still has the best legs in boxing. He still has the best. Those dance lessons his father forced him to take when he was a young kid and he didn't like
the Ukrainian
dance.
dance.
He didn't like it too much. Well, they there was a reason for it. And they paid off pretty damn good for him. And he showed me once again, that he has the best damn legs. He exemplifies what a world champion's about. Fighting the best, wanting to fight the best, believing you're the best. And the other thing is, to put a bow on it, he's everything that the other guys are. What Chris talked about, defense, and Paul talked about, so important defense. He gave you at his best defense and offense. Not too many guys combined it that way. He gave you defense while he was walking you down and pulling your heart out of your chest like a kung fu fighter. Yeah, and he pulled it right out of their chest and he left them standing there until they fell. I'm looking to see who breaks whose will. Yeah, I said it. That's what it, for me, that's what that fight, and most top fights come down to that, but that's what this fight specifically, with their skill sets, their styles, their mentalities, whose will can be broken. If anyone's could be broken, whose will could be.
I'm open for the fight, but boxing politics, we have different promoters. Mayweather said, every time he said, hey, we have our way, and forget about us. We're making money. So.
In the press. Tank, that was the first Lomachenko fight you saw live?
Yeah, picture, bro. Come on.
He looked good today?
Dude,
He's taking it.
Oh, send it to me, man.
You signed the shirt, right? I know, I recognize the autograph. Are you a fan of Tank? You're a fan of Tank?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I'm good. How you done it? Amazing. Looked impressive. Lomachenko is just clinic.
No, I'm interviewing you, brother. You're an expert too. I have to interview you.
Fiddle, how does Tank do with Lomachenko?
Easy, boy.
What happened? Why are you laughing? Why is it playing with my What do you think? What do you think of Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia? Good fight.
Are we ignoring a possible problem by leaning too heavily on what fighters have done in the past? For a long time, boxing fans have imagined the perfect showdown at lightweight. The elite skill and movement of Vasiliy Lomachenko facing off against the frightening punching power of Gervonta Tank Davis. In a matchup that has fueled endless discussion, highlight breakdowns, and fantasy debates. But while the excitement keeps growing and social media continues to push the dream fight narrative, there's a tougher truth underneath all the speculation that often gets overlooked.
Should he really deserve to cut the line? And because some are going to call in and they'll be like, well, this is a good fight. If Shakur fights him, if Tank fight, bro, he's 38 fucking years old. Go fight your contemporaries. Go fight the guys in your division. This guy is old, bro. And, I'm sure he's going to prove that age is nothing but a number. But until he does that, should we really be so welcoming? Should he really deserve to cut the line and get a shot at Tank or Shakur? Should we be okay with those guys accepting a fight with a 38-year-old instead of trying to make the fight with each other? That's something that we have to discuss, something that needs to be discussed. Are we okay with them fighting Loma rather than each other, which is something we've been waiting for? We know Shakur wanted to fight with Tank, or at least he says he does. Tank never says he wants it. Always an excuse. Always a question back at a reporter. Well, what has he done? And why does he deserve it? And why I gotta fight
Legendary
him?
boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has taken a hard look at the hype around this blockbuster matchup and cut straight through the fantasy surrounding it. His evaluation uncovers a critical weakness, one that could mark a turning point for a boxing icon. And if the fight is being viewed simply as a seasoned technician trying to avoid the pressure of a devastating puncher, then the real danger lurking underneath is being completely overlooked.
There's a couple fights on the horizon. And I'm going to jump right into saying it. Tank Davis, Lomachenko, because I want to get the people's attention right away. Tank Davis was spectacular. Lomachenko, by the way, a little earlier, what was it, 2 months ago, month and a half ago? Spectacular. Difference in age. Of course, Davis 29, Lomachenko 36. Yeah, I wish that we were talking about this 4 years ago, 5 years ago, no doubt about it. And where we could have Tank at his prime, he's at his prime now. So we could have prime now and then Lomachenko, the version of him 5 years ago. But you can't do that. You can't turn the clock back. It hasn't been done yet. So it looks like they're heading towards that fight. And again, I make I know no qualms about it. I don't mince my words. I think it's a few years too late for Lomachenko, but it's the fight that would have been on my...
For a long time, Lomachenko has been viewed almost like something out of a simulation, the Matrix fighter. His movement and footwork built a reputation that made many casual viewers believe he was essentially untouchable, someone who could glide around the ring without ever being caught clean. But that image of invincibility is no longer as solid as it once was. In reality, Lomachenko is now 38 years old. He has spent a lengthy period away from the spotlight, remaining inactive for roughly 2 years after his win against George Kambosos Jr. And in boxing, long layoffs combined with age always come with consequences. No fighter escapes time. It eventually closes the distance on everyone. While many fans still picture the version of Lomachenko from his peak years, fast, elusive, and nearly impossible to track, the physical decline that comes with age is impossible to ignore. He is stepping back into a division that has moved forward without him, now filled with younger, sharper, and more aggressive fighters who are eager to build their reputation at his expense.
But I welcome him to come back because he's high tech up here. He might not have the same footwork that got him to the elite level, but he's still going to be able to fight the elite because of the experience that he brings to the table. That southpaw, Ukrainian style that him and Usyk have perfected, it gives anyone issues. So I think he's going to evolve into an older great now. We're not going to see the same footwork, the same angles, but we are going to see the same greatness because Loma is an incredible fighter. I mean, look at what Bam Rodriguez does, trying to emulate the great Lomachenko. So I think Lomachenko is going to be welcomed with open arms, and I'm glad he's back.
I like that he's back. As you said, he went out with a win. He didn't get knocked out of boxing. He chose to leave boxing. He still looked like he was one of the best 135-pounders in the world. And I think getting a 2-year break has probably been pretty good for him. I know he's 35 years old, or 38 years old, doesn't have a ton of miles, didn't have a ton of professional fights, had a lot of amateur fights, and that certainly takes their toll on you, but doesn't have a ton of pro fights. I'm now wondering, where does he want to go? He reportedly, according to Mike Coppinger, came back right after his deal with Top Rank expires. He's now a promotional free agent. What does he want to do? In the past, he was hell-bent on becoming the undisputed champion. That was what motivated him. He was crushed after the loss to Devin Haney because that was his chance to become undisputed. And even beating Kambosos, he looked around, there were so many belts out there, it would have taken him too long.
This is where the real key to understanding the Lomachenko puzzle begins to emerge. And it starts with a common misconception about Gervonta Davis. Most fans tend to reduce Tank to nothing more than a pure puncher. Someone who depends entirely on explosive power and can end a fight with a single shot. But Teddy Atlas completely rejects that simple label. In his view, Davis stands out as one of the most well-rounded fighters in the sport, largely because of his sharp, disciplined fight intelligence. He isn't just marching forward and swinging for a highlight finish. Instead, he operates more like a calculated hunter, carefully placing mental pressure on his opponent and creating situations where mistakes become inevitable. Early rounds are often used as a process of observation. He studies timing, picks up habits, and identifies patterns in movement and defense. From there, he builds a clear map of openings and reactions. Rather than chasing a random knockout, he constructs it step by step, turning it into something planned rather than accidental.
Be able to fight the elite because of the experience that he brings to the table. That southpaw, Ukrainian style that him and Usyk have perfected, it gives anyone issues. So I think he's going to evolve into an older great now. We're not going to see the same footwork, the same angles, but we are going to see the same greatness because Loma is an incredible fighter. I mean, look at what Bam Rodriguez does, trying to emulate the great Lomachenko. So I think Lomachenko is going to be welcomed with open arms, and I'm glad he's back.
I like that he's back. As you said, he went out with a win. He didn't get knocked out of boxing. He chose to leave boxing. He still looked like he was one of the best 135-pounders in the world. And I think getting a 2-year break has probably been pretty good for him. I know he's 35 years old, or 38 years old, doesn't have a ton of miles, didn't have a ton of professional fights, had a lot of amateur fights, and that certainly takes their toll on you, but doesn't have a ton of pro fights. I'm now wondering, where does he want to go? He reportedly, according to Mike Coppinger, came back right after his deal with Top Rank expires. He's now a promotional free agent. What does he want to do? In the past, he was hell-bent on becoming the undisputed champion. That was what motivated him. He was crushed after the loss to Devin Haney because that was his chance to become undisputed. And even beating Kambosos, he looked around, there were so many belts out there, it would have taken him too long to collect them all. There's still a lot of belts out there. There's still 4 champions at 135. I'm curious what he's coming back for, what the fight is. Is he looking at one big fight in particular? Does he want to try to fight Tank? Is he looking at Shakur? We've talked about that fight for a long time. What is the big fight, do you think, for Vasiliy Lomachenko?
Definitely not Shakur.
Why not?
Because I think
2 decorated amateurs?
I get it, but
medalists? Stars?
Shakur's on.
That same methodical style is precisely what reveals a vulnerability in Lomachenko's game. One that stronger, physically dominant fighters have already managed to take advantage of. There have been clear moments where Lomachenko has had real difficulty when he's forced to fight while moving in reverse against bigger opponents who can apply steady physical pressure. Fighters like Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney have already shown how that approach can work. When he's pushed onto the back foot, Lomachenko is still capable of making opponents miss with his movement and timing. However, in those situations, his ability to respond offensively becomes much more limited, and his attack often slows down or disappears entirely.
I don't think anybody can take Tank's, you know what I mean? That's like saying, do I think somebody could take Wilder's right hand across the jaw? Not really. What I'm saying is, when Loma's fighting somebody bigger than him, he has to get inside. And in doing so, he's open to the body shot. But when he's fighting somebody he's bigger than, with a reach that's close to his, or he has a longer reach than, Lomachenko fight at angles from the outside. Y'all haven't seen it in a long time. Look at the Gary Russell fight. Y'all haven't seen it in a long time. Now somebody got to come to him. He doesn't have to be in harm's way as much as he does when he's fighting a bigger person. You got to really look at Loma when he's fighting somebody around his size or small. So that's why when people say I got Loma win, I can see it.
Atlas highlights a key flaw in Lomachenko's fighting mechanics. When he is forced to retreat, his offensive output drops to almost nothing. In those moments, he no longer punishes opponents for coming forward, something that becomes especially dangerous against a fighter like Gervonta Davis. Just moving backward and trying to stay safe isn't a sustainable strategy, because if Tank is allowed to keep advancing without facing any real counter-threat, it only builds toward one outcome. Eventually, that pressure leads to the kind of power shots that are extremely difficult to avoid forever.
I'm watching it to see, and if it had been a Lomachenko was 31 instead of 36, this is what, and I'd still be looking for it, but this is what I was looking to see. Everyone's going to say, you're looking to see their skill sets, you're looking to see, their hand speed, you're looking to see the body punching they both do tremendously, you're looking to see the ability to make a guy miss, the ability to counter, you're looking to see all of that. I'm looking to see who breaks whose will. Yeah, I said it. That's what it, for me, that's what that fight, and most top fights come down to that. But that's what this fight, specifically with their skill sets, their styles, their mentalities, whose will can be broken. If anyone's could be broken, whose will can be stolen. Take it.
Adding another layer of difficulty to this matchup is the unusual tactical problem created when two southpaws share the ring. Lomachenko made his name by outmaneuvering orthodox fighters, often positioning himself outside their lead foot to open up sharp angles that left them off balance and swinging at empty space. However, that advantage becomes far less effective against Gervonta Davis, who also fights from a southpaw stance. This naturally takes away one of Lomachenko's most reliable tools. On top of that, Davis has refined a powerful and unconventional overhand straight left that travels in a more vertical line than expected. Against another left-handed opponent, that kind of shot becomes especially difficult to read and avoid. If Lomachenko attempts his usual in-and-out movement and sharp entries, there's a real risk that he could step directly into a perfectly timed counter. The same angles he normally uses to control distance and create openings could instead line him up for Davis's most dangerous punches.
Loma looks more ordinary in a weight class where everybody's far bigger than him. Tank isn't far bigger than him. That's the only reason why Loma has struggled at all. But he's still knocking people out. He's still knocking Nakatani all around the ring, and Richard Comey, and knocking out Kambosos with a body shot, knocking out Linares with a body shot, dropping Luke Campbell. He's still knocking people out. Got robbed against Haney. But when he fights somebody his size, or he's taller than, or something like that, he dominates. So I can see how he messes around and beat Tank. He hasn't fought anybody smaller than him in ages. That's why Duran struggled against the Four Kings. They were all bigger than him. And Duran kept going up. Duran was unstoppable at lightweight. When he got to welter, 154, middleweight, they were just too big. But I'm just saying.
The tension around this matchup has escalated dramatically due to a recent dispute that has completely reshaped public expectations. Online discussions have exploded following Gervonta Davis's controversial draw with Lamont Roach. That result has sparked intense debate, with many suggesting that Davis may have shown signs of being figured out when faced with a disciplined, technically sharp opponent. Some believe this moment revealed a potential weakness, that a skilled, methodical boxer can disrupt his rhythm and make him uncomfortable in long stretches of a fight. As a result, a growing section of fans now sees a fighter like Lomachenko as the ideal stylistic problem to exploit that same blueprint. The idea has gained momentum that what Roach began might be fully completed by a higher-level technician. This shift in perception has significantly intensified interest in the potential matchup, with many now convinced that an upset is no longer just a possibility, but something that could realistically happen.
Welcome him to come back because he's high-tech up here. He might not have the same footwork that got him to the elite level, but he's still going to be able to fight the elite because of the experience that he brings to the table. That southpaw, Ukrainian style that him and Usyk has perfected, it gives anyone issues. So I think he's going to evolve into an older great now. We're not going to see the same footwork, the same angles, but we are going to see the same greatness because Loma is an incredible fighter. I mean, look at what Bam Rodriguez does, trying to emulate the great Lomachenko. So I think Lomachenko is going to be welcomed with open arms, and I'm glad he's back.
I like that he's back. As you said, he went out with a win. He didn't get knocked out of boxing. He chose to leave boxing. He still looked like he was one of the best 135-pounders in the world. And I think getting a 2-year break has probably been pretty good for him. I know he's 35 years old, or 38 years old, doesn't have a ton of miles, didn't have a ton of professional fights, had a lot of amateur fights, and that certainly takes their toll on you, but doesn't have a ton of pro fights. I'm now wondering, where does he want to go? He reportedly, according to Mike Coppinger, came back right after his deal with Top Rank expires. He's now a promotional free agent. What does he want to do? In the past, he was hell-bent on becoming the undisputed champion. That was what motivated him. He was crushed after the loss to Devin Haney, because that was his chance to become undisputed. And even beating Kambosos, he looked around, there were so many belts out there, it would have taken him too long to collect them all. There's still a lot of belts out there. There's still 4 champions at 135. I'm curious what he's coming back for, what the fight is. Is he looking at one big fight in particular? Does he want to try to fight Tank? Is he looking at...
From a behind-the-scenes perspective, the only reason this matchup is even being talked about as a real possibility is due to a major shift in contractual circumstances. For years, promotional barriers and business affiliations kept these two fighters on completely separate paths, making a collision between them nearly impossible. However, That situation changed when Lomachenko's agreement with Top Rank quietly came to an end, leaving him free to operate without a promotional tie. That move effectively removed the usual business obstacles that often block high-profile boxing clashes. Since then, talk has grown that powerful overseas investors are ready to inject enormous funding into the sport in order to push this fight into reality. With financial backing and public interest now moving in the same direction, the situation has evolved into a rare alignment where the matchup becomes difficult for either side to dismiss, given the scale of potential earnings involved.
No bullshit. The Matrix is back. Vasiliy Lomachenko is back. Hell, Lomachenko is back. Errol the True Spence is back, fighting him Zoo in July. Hit the Tyson bell. Listen, Bud Crawford, bring your ass. Bud Crawford, come on home. Listen, I was done for today. This news broke. You guys were sending this to me. Breaking news. Vasiliy Lomachenko is coming back. Ring Magazine, they announced it. They said all over their socials, they said Vasiliy Lomachenko is coming out of retirement and is targeting a return in the fall of this year. Sources tell Ring's Mike Coppinger. Lomachenko's contract with Top Rank expires today, and he's now a promotional free agent, seeking the biggest fights possible. Oh my God! Hit the Tyson bell. Seeking the biggest fights possible. So he retired. He retired in a way, you know, some fighters do that, right? They're retired to retire out of a contract. So Top Rank, I guess he wanted to be a free agent, and that's good. Right now is the perfect time to do so. You got all these different networks. You got Ring, you have DAZN, War Room, you have Zuffa, you have Netflix. You got all this shit. So him being a free agent right now and not being tied to Top Rank, that's cool.
When everything is put together, Teddy Atlas arrives at a very sobering outlook for the Ukrainian great. Factoring in the effects of age, a long 2-year period away from competition, and a style clash that neutralizes many of Lomachenko's strongest tools, the overall outlook becomes far less favorable. Gervonta Davis brings overwhelming punching power along with sharp, precise counterpunching, which means Lomachenko would have to remain flawless for all 12 rounds without a single technical mistake. Even the smallest lapse, whether a brief hesitation or a step in the wrong direction, could completely change the outcome of the fight. In Atlas's view, while Lomachenko's courage and technical brilliance are beyond question, the physical challenge of facing a peak, calculating finisher like Davis may simply be too demanding to overcome. In a matchup like this, there is virtually no room for error at any point.
Right? So you got to understand, it's not cherry picking. Lomachenko's 36. He's younger than Terence Crawford, same name as Alexander Usyk. They top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the world. And nobody's saying that they're old. It's only considered old for Lomachenko because of style matchups. Because his style, once he got in the ring with guys that was on his level and his size or bigger than him, like T.O. Devin, he didn't look like the Matrix anymore. Jermaine Ortiz, he didn't look like the Matrix anymore. Okay? That version of Lomachenko no longer exists. He don't look like the Matrix. He don't look like, you know, this imposing dominant figure because he's now on an even playing field. And you seeing kinks in the armor from when he was Lomachenko fighting those guys compared to now fighting the Devin Haney's, T.O.'s. And he don't like rough fights like the Orlando Salido fight, right? He got dropped by Gary Russell Jr. and he got dropped by Jorge Linares. So there's kinks in his armor, right? And Gervonta Tank Davis is the ultimate puncher, knockout artist. And that is understood. Tank Davis is going to back him up. He's going to be aggressive. And I believe he's going to stop Lomachenko and end his career in the 7th round in November.
This ultimately raises a deeper question about what happens when greatness starts to fade. Can an all-time fighter truly recognize the right moment to walk away? Or does the temptation of one last massive showdown cloud that judgment? Vasiliy Lomachenko has already achieved everything there is to achieve in boxing, with no real accomplishments left to chase. Still, he appears to be heading toward what could be the most dangerous challenge of his career. It leaves us questioning whether chasing one final career-defining payday will reinforce his legendary status, or result in a costly misstep against an opponent perfectly built to take advantage of any decline. What's your opinion? Does Lomachenko still have enough left to overcome an explosive Gervonta Tank Davis? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That wraps up today's breakdown. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you stay updated with future uploads. And make sure to drop your perspective in the comment section as well.